The Alexander County Board of Social Services is now called to order. At this time, I would like to ask Hazel Yoder to give the invocation.
Let us pray. Our Father, we ask for wisdom and guidance to do your work. Please give us both. In your name, amen.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 4th and April 3rd?
So
23rd, I'm sorry, 23rd.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we accept the minutes for April the 4th and 23rd. At this time, we will have the introduction of the new staff.
Good afternoon. I'm Carol Church, Child Support Supervisor, and I would like to introduce Miss Amy Barnes, and she has filled our office assistant position, and she's come to us from our local attorney's office. She's been there for 6 years, so we've got a great deal of experience, especially in the legal field, and we're really excited to have her. Thank you, Amy.
Welcome.
Is she not going to make a speech?
Okay. I need to back up here just a second. I need to get an approval for today's agenda as written.
Second.
It's been moved in second that we approve the agenda for today. Next is the financial report by Sherry Deal.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Matthew just told me that everything looked good. I didn't have to come up here, but I thought you may want me to. Which means that you can stick him with a lot of questions later. We are closing in on the end of our fiscal year. This is representative of April. All of our expenditures are really where they should be. We are below the level in all categories with the exception of general assistance. And we are close to closing in on spending our allocation of crisis intervention monies. So that's the reason that that's a little bit above, but pretty soon that will fall in line at the end of the year. If you'll take a look at the revenues, all of our revenues continue to come in pretty readily. Again, as I've mentioned before, Western Piedmont Council of Governments, those fall in line really kind of 2 months behind. So even though there's low percentages, where we're reporting April's units in May, we sometimes don't get the reimbursement until even the following month. So towards the end of the fiscal year, that will catch up. And then if you'll take a look at the bottom, the balance left at the end of April is $655,000. That leaves us with approximately $328,000 to spend for the last 2 months of this fiscal year. And based on our spending patterns for the first 10 months, we spent about $131,000. So, of course, anything can happen in the next 2 months, but based on this information, we will come in under budget for the fiscal year.
Good.
And I'll be glad to take any questions.
No question, but well done.
Thank you. Well, it wasn't me. It's a collection of everybody, but thank you.
We will now hear highlights of the statistical report from DSS supervisors.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Reese, one of the Economic Services Supervisors. If I may draw your attention to page 1 of your statistical report in the section entitled Food and Nutrition. For the month of April, we had 2,799 total households. We had 6,287 total individuals. The agency received 51 new applications and received 117 reapplications, with the total value of the food stamps household being $715,026 and an average value household or per household $255. Just want to draw your attention to those numbers to see, the gradual increase, in the fluctuation that changes. I also wanted to mention, it's not found on your statistical report, but as Ms. Deal had mentioned about our SIP program, wanted to bring you up to speed with where we are as far as monies for that. Right now, we have right around $28,000 that we still have in the crisis intervention program. And speaking on that note, though, at the bottom of your page, on the first page, you'll see we had a total number of applications of 130, and 121 of those were approved. So over the course of the past several months, it has maintained to be predominantly at least over 100 applications each month. Is there any other questions that you may have on the statistical report?
Matt,
Just-
Yes, sir.
food and nutrition, we were running 63, 50, 60 or so on to about January. Then it went down 2 months, and now it's come back up. Is that tied into anything, jobs or anything like that, or is it just?
Not that I know of, Daryl. The only thing that I could speak to that note on would be that Second Harvest has really been doing an outreach of trying to get information out to the general public about our programs. That's the only thing that I could think of, Mr. Robertson, right offhand, that would have possibly created that little bit of influx. But we do, throughout each month, see an increase and a decline, sporadically. I'll be glad to entertain anything else about the statistical report. The other thing I wanted to mention to you, ladies and gentlemen, is I think you should have gotten an updated flyer of resources within the food and nutrition. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. What we've added was, I believe, the Hid Night Helpers. We've added the contact information for that program. We try to get as much information out to the general public, as we possibly can. The other thing that I wanted to mention was we have been speaking, we try to bring you all up to date each month with the NC Fast program that's going to be coming about. Wanted to report good news. The 4 pilot counties went live today. And the 4 pilot counties is Catawba, Johnston, Guilford, and Carteret counties. So, in the next coming months, I'll hopefully be able to present you more information. The 2 super users that our county has selected, they have attended in-class training in the month of April, and they have also participated in some webinars within the past week, trying to get them up and ready. Because the biggest impact that our county may see is with us having a sister county that joins us, Catawba, is if a household is receiving food and nutrition benefits in Catawba County and they move to Alexander County, they can now transfer their case. And with us being a non-NC Fast county right now, we have to have someone to work or maintain that case until we go live. So that's basically what role the 2 super users will play. But we do have on the agenda in the upcoming months to do a presentation to you all as far as how NC Fast will look and those kind of things. So stay tuned for upcoming events. Any questions?
I don't think so.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Good afternoon. I'm Holly Young, Children's Services Program Manager. If you will turn to page 5 of your statistical report, you will see it's actually page 5 and just a little bit on page 6, excuse me, the Child Protective Services information. You will see that we received 69 reports in the month of April and accepted 37 reports, which was a little down from several months before, but kind of nice for our staff to catch a little bit of a breath since we have are losing some staff. You will see that we assisted other counties with some information. 15, we accepted 15 assists for other counties, and we asked for 9 assists from other counties, which is a number that we have begun to track. There were 37 investigations open on the last day of the month and 43 in-home cases open on the last day of the month. And on the last day of April, we have 43 children in foster care. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong line. I apologize. We have 45 children in foster care. We had 3 children whose adoptions were finalized in April, so that is wonderful news for us and for those children. They got permanent safe homes, and we had 1 child to enter our custody in the month of April. We are currently supervising, on page 6 on the back page, you will see that we are currently supervising 19 foster homes licensed by our county. We did attempt to begin a MAP class, a foster parent training class, in the month of April. We had a very low turnout for that class, and so we have made a decision that we will be doing a program called Deciding Together, which is a one-on-one type licensing program for foster parents, because it's more, the time spent will be better spent using that one-on-one approach with those families. We hope to do some recruitment and get some families licensed for our children. We desperately need foster homes, and so we're looking at some of the ways that we can do outreach in the community to get more homes in our county. And so that's one of the things that we'll be working very diligently on, probably over the summer, and hopefully starting a class in the fall once everybody has had their summer vacation and ball is not rec ball and those kind of things aren't ongoing. So we hope to have a good turnout the next time we try to start that class. And then you also have in front of you the Child Protective Services Investigation and Family Assessments Report. On the back page of that, page 2, just the types of reports that we're receiving and the percentages of the cases that are involved certain types of abuse or neglect. 43% of the reports we received in the month of April involved improper supervision. 54% involved injurious environment. And we continue to see that many of our cases, 38% involve substance abuse. And so those are the numbers that I thought were the top 3 of the month. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
I'm Julie Sebastian. I'm the Adult Services Supervisor. May is Older Americans Month, and we just celebrated Older Americans Month with Golden Opportunity Day this past Friday at Friendship Lutheran Church. We had a great turnout. There was probably around between 60 and 70. And those who don't know about May being Older Americans Month, in 1963, President John F. Kennedy, he proclaimed Senior Citizens Month, and then in 1980, Jimmy Carter, he called May as Older Americans Month, so he changed the title. And presidents, as of 1963, has always recognized May being Older Americans Month. And this year's theme is Never Too Old to Play, and I thought that was a pretty good theme. How us younger generation do look up to the older generation, and baby boomers growing, we see a larger amount of older Americans. Looking at the statistical report, page 3, one thing I want to note, for our home delivered meals, all of our routes are full. We have 5 routes and they're all full here in the county. As you can see, we went from our waiting list from 31 to 8. And we are serving 41 individuals. The worker that have been putting people on has really done a great job with that. And we're also still looking for volunteers for our home delivered meal route. If anyone knows of anyone, feel free to call myself or Susan Tigg. As little as once a month, you can volunteer meals, and not even an hour of your time to give somebody a hot meal means a world of difference. And page 4, our APS, our numbers are up a little bit. We did receive 17 reports, And out of those 17, we did 11 investigations. And that's with the same workers, and they are carrying on several different hats. So I want to applaud them for that. Any questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Julie. Are there any other reports this time? If not, we'll now hear the items from our director, Cindy Homer.
Thank you. We do have some vacancies. We continue to have some turnover in child welfare. Some is a nice way of putting it, but we have done some interviewing and have some interviews set up, and we are hoping to bring some new staff on. We currently have an investigations position open, a social work supervisor position open. We have, and of course, if we promote from within, which we do like to do, if possible, that would create another line vacancy. We have a Medicaid income maintenance adult Medicaid position vacant right now, and we are pending a foster care vacancy and an in-home vacancy. Those staff have not left us yet, but are scheduled. That the foster care won't happen until July. Is that correct? But our in-home position is leaving us very shortly. So as you can tell, when I look at our foster care staff are all new. Our in-home staff right now, we just moved someone experienced back into in-home, but they're relatively new, all of our in-home staff. And as you can see, the turnover in investigations, we're about to approach having a whole new child welfare staff, which is a difficult position, but for your managers, I just want to applaud Holly and Heather and Carrie and Betsy for staying the course while we're having constant new staff. It's very, very difficult. The work we do is very difficult with experienced staff, much less all new staff out there. You can imagine the volume of just telephone calls to the supervisors when you've got all new staff in the field trying to handle these very complex cases. So that is has been it's been a very difficult time for child welfare, and we've kind of are having some. We're going to talk in our closed session in a few minutes too. We have some tough stuff going on. I brought a couple of things. I am not going to read these names out, but the Council of Government has, Western Piedmont Council of Government has asked us for a business representative from our community to serve on that board. And I have had these suggestions from some of our staff. I'm going to pass it amongst you, board members, and if you have a suggestion of someone in our community that could represent a business, an Alexander County business, on the Western Piedmont board, please feel free. Look at the ones that have been suggested, and if you want to go check or star by one of these that you see that has been suggested, that would be a great recommendation from you, so I'll pass that along. We are not having a program today because we do have quite a bit of information for you in closed session that has to be, that falls under the closed session guidelines and statutes. I did want to tell you about our board programs for the rest of this year. In June, we're going to do a program called The Face of the Agency, and we're going to talk about our front desk staff, our reception staff, and how do we greet the community. In July, we're going to talk about after hours, what happens when the doors close at social services, because we have a number of programs, both children and adults, that are required to be 24/7 programs. In August, we're going to talk about, Matthew's going to do a program for us, getting ready for NC Fast, where we are and what we see coming. Did you ever think you'd hear us say NC Fast went live this month? And in September, we plan to prepare an annual report for you this year. I was pretty new last year and we did not do one, but I would really like for us to do an annual report and let you know what's going on in all of our programs. In October, we'll do a program called Guardianship and Our Challenging Role. I'm sure some of you have heard about the changes that are taking place in the adult services world, and we'll talk a lot about that. In November, we titled it, We Are Thankful to Be Able to Help. We're going to talk about crisis intervention, LEAP, emergency assistance, and anything else that we do that our emergency services program. And that'll be a very appropriate time to talk about that. And then in December, we're going to do what we're calling Christmas Joy. We're going to hopefully show you some pictures and report a little bit more timely on what's going on with our agency during the holidays and some of the things that we do to help the community. And we'll figure out exactly what that is when we get a little closer. We had quite a program last year. I did want to pass to you, I only received this just today, so I'm going to pass to you a copy. Daryl, you're going to say, again? Are we going to talk about this again? But this 433, it's back up and gathering momentum, a lot of momentum. And we are, in some ways, pretty concerned about it. I'm going to send you, I'm not going to talk about it a whole lot, but I am going to send you a position statement from the local Human Services Administration. It's NCAC DSS, that's the Directors Association. The board of the North Carolina Association of County Boards of Social Services, which y'all are members of, and the North Carolina Social Services Association, all have drafted a position paper together. And then also NCSSA sent out a summary with just some examples of things for you to be concerned, for us to be concerned about. And I hope it will not be offensive to anyone. It is certainly not directed toward our county manager or our commissioners. Some counties are not as lucky as we are to have the kind of relationships that we do in our county. So I'm going to give this information to you. And if you'll just, each one is a set. And then Shelley, if we can just send Jane a set in the mail. Okay, and I think that's all I have on my agenda today. Unless you have some questions for me.
No, clear.
Banner, what did you say?
Oh, no, after that's done.
Okay.
Thank you, Cindy, so much. We will now enter to closed session under General Statute 143-318.11. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session?
Prior to, may I have one item for staff?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't. This was as a result of the YMCA meeting that I thought this afternoon, Matt and I attended a board meeting and found that there are many, many openings for students this summer at the YMCA. Also, specialty camps such as cheerleading camp. We also saw a wonderful opportunity for Alexander County children to attend Haynes Camp, which is the YMCA feature camp 25 miles north of Winston-Salem, which we were ready to go on site. It was just so inviting. So any of the people you work with that you would like to make a recommendation, there are scholarships available, but I thought you would appreciate knowing those opportunities for our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other recommendations from the board? Okay.
I'll move, we go into closed session.
Second.
Coming back to open session to adjourn.
It's been moved in second that we go into closed session at this time.